Welcome, everyone, to the Best Damn Podcast. I am your host, John Keene. As always, I would like to thank you guys for joining me. Ask that you please add, follow, and check us out, www.thebestdamnpodcast.tv. Follow me, Instagram, Best Damn Podcast, Twitter, at The Real Best Damn, and wherever you're watching from, please, guys, make sure to hit that like, give us a thumbs up, leave a comment, let me know what you think, share this link, get it out there, spread it far and wide. That way new people can find us and new people can see. And make sure to subscribe, click that bell, that way you guys get all of the notifications. And keep in mind, we're completely viewer powered. That means we're fully funded and supported by you. If you'd like to donate support to the channel, you can do so with the links in the description box below. PayPal, Venmo, Patreon, Cash App, or Facebook Messenger Pay. You can also text that number or email therealbestdampodcast@gmail.com or 513-393-2396. Book a personal tarot reading or get your links if you donate to the channel. Yeah, man, I appreciate you guys so much. And this will probably be the only video for the next couple of days. It won't be the last one of the month or anything like that, but for the next couple of days. My birthday is on Wednesday, so so I'm going to take a couple of days off and just really, enjoy the celebration of life, man. Like, nothing better, right? Like, just being alive. I feel like so often, we take it for granted. Just that in itself, we're always making these comparisons and contrasts to one another, and it seems like society is built on this hierarchical system of competitiveness, of like keeping up with the Joneses, of like, oh, my life isn't like theirs, so my life isn't complete. And it's like so often we forget that the only competition we truly have is with ourselves, right? It's with ourselves, and that's where happiness is found. That's where peace is found. That's where God is found, is within. When we tap deep inside our own hearts, our own minds, our own souls, our own spirits, and I think it's a humbling deal to kind of just appreciate the gift of life in itself and say, I am alive. I'm breathing. I ate today. I love today. And I created today and expressed who I was today. And that's good enough, like that's everything, that's everything. And I feel like it's, our society is so focused on the next upgrade with technology and all that. We're going to be talking about, Saturn tonight quite a bit. And the new age that we're going into and leaving this, Saturnian paradigm and moving into the Aquarian paradigm. And we're going to talk about astro-theological perspectives and all of that. So it's going to be a pretty cool show. I haven't done one like this in a while, but I do love doing these kind of shows where we really get to do the deep dives and look at these deities and the natures of the energies and where they originate from and why people worship the way they worship and, what it all truly means and how we can put it together and use that to really springboard us towards a positive evolution in our spirituality and our consciousness. And, one of the things that I think sets us up for more positivity and more blessings to come is that attitude of gratitude. So I just want to express that to you guys and say thank you so much for taking the time out to watch. Thank you so much for taking the time out, to hit those likes and share the links and, support me and all that you guys do, because, I am grateful and I have so much gratitude for the experience in itself. Think about the cool ass people we get to meet in communities like this. The crazy minds that we get to interact with in communities like this. Like, you won't find this nowhere else. And it's like such a jewel. It's such a gem. It's such a gift, right? To really be able to be on a even playing field with other people when it comes to spiritual, the nature of spiritual things. Our world is so closed off to the spirit. Our world is so closed off to consciousness. There's such a tight box-like structure from the Saturnian cube that we are locked in. Most are locked in to where they can't think outside of that box. They can't see past what the media pushes. They can't see past what religion has pushed, right? And it's really refreshing to see people with open minds, open hearts, and, really open to different ideas, and different ways of expressing it. So big ups, big thanks. Let me see who we have in the chat here. I do appreciate you guys so much. I see Up Your 73, Johnny, Stool Purger. Thank you guys. I love you all so much. And, let me know if you're in the chat, if you guys can hear me and see me and all that good stuff. Hey, having a fantastic birthday. It's on Wednesday, so we'll see. You know what, guys? I've been spinning just finally another live show. I'm transitioning, so this will be the last month that I'm doing this channel. But I'm transitioning to something different. I'm still going to try to present monthly, bi-weekly. I don't know yet. I haven't really figured it out. Something in this format. That way I can talk about the things I like to talk about and hit the topics I want to talk about and really dive in the spiritual side and the learning side, the research side. That's, where I really feel like we excel and get the most out of. But I am transitioning to tarot and astrology, and to me, it's like a really cool thing to have this new opportunity to grow, to take what we've done, since 2015, 2016 on this channel, and all the channels that have been deleted and all that over the years. We've taken all this knowledge, this gnosis we have, and, this community that's really fed me spiritually. I've learned so much from you guys. It's been iron sharpening iron, just really gleaning off of you guys, and we're going to be able to take that now and show how the information translates and how we have mastered certain aspects of ourselves and, really our own craft, and I've really been working on, my tarot and astrology skills for a few years now. And I'll be honest, I just haven't been confident enough to really bring it out into the open till recently. So now, I'm ready to shift into something new, and I feel like that's the way I'm going to reach people. I don't even want to talk about the negative side of anything, but, it is what it is. I've had to kind of, disable comments and things like that. And I don't want to feed into negativity. I want to do things that are going to help me grow and help other people to grow, yes, how do you get your info if you're not going to do the Best Damn Podcast? I am going to change. I don't know if I'm going to change the channel name right away, but I do have new logos and new names and all of that. I'm going to start a tarot channel on the side, but I'm going to be going through these channels, right off the top. So I probably will be taking down all the old content and all of that. I don't know if I should leave it up or not, but like I said, guys, I've gotten a ton of, dirt thrown on my name over the last couple of years. A lot of people hate, and they hate because we're different. I don't take it personally anymore. I used to. It used to bother me really bad. That people feel the need to, diminish another person. Like, it's feel like we never gain when we try to throw dirt on another person's or dim another person's light to make ours appear brighter. Right? And anybody that's doing that, you really got to question their motives. It's like, and I know when you're a content creator, you're never supposed to respond or anything, but I'm a human being just like anybody else. I get offended just like anybody else. And I don't allow people to control how I do respond or react. I choose my responses and reactions. And sometimes I just, I want to tell people like, yo, you got me wrong. You don't know me. You don't know my heart. I think judgment in any form is not good. And it just really is a reflection of the people that judge when they do those things. I don't feel like it reflects me. I will be in another magazine, though. So I did get another magazine that I'm going to be in. If you guys want to check it out, it's coming up. Canvas Rebel is the name of the magazine, so that'll be really fitting. Anybody who checked out the Voyage Baltimore, I was in Voyage Baltimore, and somebody just left the fucking nastiest review under that magazine. It's like, that's the kind of shit I'm talking about. Like, getting your name trashed. It's like, while you're, you can't even celebrate something cool like being put in magazines and shit because people want to leave just the ugliest things, underneath it. It's like, how miserable your life must be. How miserable your life must be. So it is what it is, man. Please leave it. Screw all those that hate and throw dirt. Many more people will be coming behind us that will need all your information. Well, thank you so much. And you know what? That's what's cool about this community. I love you guys, honestly. I love you guys. Really, really. I do. I do. And I can't tell you how good it feels to grow with you guys. Like, we've got to grow. Exponentially grow. If anybody's like watched this channel like way back when, and then you see the content now over the last couple of years, it's like, god damn, like, we are on next level breaking the fucking matrix shit, like way ahead of our time in a lot of things we're discussing and talking about. And we've been talking about these concepts for a long time, putting pieces together, creating our own theories and destroying old paradigms. And it's like, we've done this together, and it's been a beautiful, beautiful experience, so show that sexy face. Yeah, well, that's the cool thing about tarot. I feel like I'll never have to show my face again, right? Just my hands. So you get to see my sexy tattooed hands. To infinity and beyond, yes. Let's go ahead and jump into this, guys. Most of you guys are familiar with the Saturnian paradigm, and this is like where we're coming out of it. I feel like there's a lot of things that are misconstrued when it comes to Saturn and this energy. If we look at from a matrix type of standpoint and what we understand to be the governing relations of energies to this matrix, I always go back to the 7 rays, right? These 7 colors, 7 chakras, 7 lights, 7 sources of light, energy, frequency, vibration. And this to me is our 7 main planets, right? 7 main planets, excluding Neptune and Uranus, because it is outside of the bounds of Saturn, right? These rule the 7 days of the week. These are your 7 main deistic spirits. If you watch Game of Thrones, these are the 7 faces of the many-faced God, which if you guys haven't checked out the new House of Dragons, I thought it was really cool. I'm a Game of Thrones fan. I don't watch television, but I will make an exception for Game of Thrones. You have to ignore the evil that does the demeaning garbage. Pretend it's not there. Just keep doing what you always have, that you were created for. Man, I love the words of encouragement. But that's a Saturnian mindset. Like, that's just kind of that, and that's how we're going to climb into this one tonight, right? Saturn is it can be a constricting, controlling, over masculine energy, even though it does have feminine aspects just as well, right? And it is that iron, right? We talk about the iron mixed with miry clay and the beast of Daniel and all of these different things, right? Well, whenever we're looking at spiritual alchemy, right, Saturn gives us that base metal to kind of work with, that carnality, that lower aspect to work with. That way we can start the process of transmutation. And Saturn acts as a father-like figure when it comes to those 7 rays. Which, keep in mind, these are the 7 colors of the rainbow, right? Which is the arc of the covenant, right? Arc, as in electrical arc, or arc of light of the covenant with God. It is these archons or governors or watchers or messengers or fallen, however you want to look at it. It's totally up to you. I'm open to whatever. What's good for you is good for me. But that Saturnian mindset, right, it comes from something that is meant to guide us, right? The Saturnian energy is a constricting energy because it's like keeping us within the bounds of this reality, of this realm. Acting like a good father does, right? What does a good father do? Like, you get a bicycle. Dad doesn't just take off the fucking training wheels and be like, okay, bud, I'm going to push you down a hill now and just let you go, right? A good father, is going to make sure to hold on to that bike and, keep you from going too fast until you have control, right? And you learn how to ride and you have your balance. And that's how Saturnian energy is supposed to act in a healthy way. But as we know, living in a old reality of dualism, right? And we're going to talk about old reality and new. Right? Old reality is the Saturnian reality, Saturnian mindset. New reality is the Aquarian, right? And we're going to talk about the difference between the two. So, right, when we're looking at a Saturnian mindset, so the Saturnian age, Saturnian cycle, right, it is that masculine, patriarchal system that we have been brought up in, one of dualism, where things can be a little bit black and white, right? Good and evil. Right? And what this produces is, this kind of sense of like right and wrong, where, us versus them. It can be very, very divisive. Even though, like I said, Saturn does have feminine aspects as well, right? And Saturn does have good qualities as well. It's not just about control and power and carnality, right? It's about, mastering the carnal self, the lower self, and the restrictions being there to keep us within the bounds, healthy boundaries. That way we can navigate the reality on our way to growth and create exponential abundance and prosperity, and do it the right way with that paternal focus, that father-like focus, kind of helping guide us through. And then, you look at the Aquarian energy, it's like that's when the training wheels are taken off. That's when the training wheels are taken off. That's when we step into new social structures. We step into new technological advancements. We step into a new way of communicating consciously, and it's a free world, man. I don't know how many of you guys have experienced. There's these waves of energy that come in, and I feel these shifts, which, keep in mind, we are getting ready to hit the equinox. I'm born on the equinox, actually, and that's when the veil is the thinnest between the worlds. So this is going to be a very cool time spiritually for us. We should be able to get lots and lots of downloads. When that veil is the thinnest, that's when all that cosmic information comes in most abundant, and we're able to absorb that, and our DNA reacts to these downloads and gives us that information, right? We process it, we fire it off with those neurons rocking in our brain, and it's applied to our auric field, which in essence protects our spirit and feeds our spirit. They work hand in hand together. So we have this equinox coming up, and instead of it being on the 21st, which is my birthday, like it normally is, it's going to be on the 25th this year, which I find to be rather interesting, right? Thinking about it from that kind of perspective, right? The 25th, we want to do the numerology of that. 2 plus 5 is 7. 7 being the number of God, 7 being the number of judgment, 7 being, what many would even perceive to be just a lucky number, right? 7, and we look at solar cycle 25 that we're currently in as well. 2 plus 5 is 7. We look at the era of Trump that we've come out, and Trump being brought back in the news. 2 plus 5, 7, right? 7 lampstands, 7 seals, 7 rays, right? So 7 is going to be key for us right now as we move forward. This new moon in Libra is going to bring us more balance, right? Those Libra scales, right? Give us an opportunity to bring balance into our life. Give us an opportunity to find clarity. Give us an opportunity to really step into growth and step into that godhood and eclipse that 6 number, right? That number of man. We're going to eclipse that, and there's nothing wrong with the 6, right? The 6 is where we are or have been, but we're going into the 7 now. We're going into the more of the godlike energy. We're going into more of the enlightenment energy, right? And that's part of this Aquarian age too, is how we communicate consciously. When these training wheels are taken off, it's like a blast in the fucking face, right? You're getting a mouthful of the ethers and you're like, wow, I've never experienced consciousness without the training wheels. So it can be a scary fucking thing, right? And you start to appreciate that Saturnian cycle, right? Because you know that humanity wasn't ready yet to go past the bounds of Saturn until now. But now that we are, ending this great year, this great cycle through the precession of the equinox and stepping out of the Piscean age, right, which is water energy, right? And it's really, it provides transformation, right? Cleansing, emotional maturity, growth, opportunity. Piscean energy is very Jupiterian too, right? And we know that that's all about, intellect, that's spiritual intuition, that's about dreaming, that's, about manifestation, it's about luck, it's about opportunity, it's about change, it's about wisdom, it's about all these beautiful, grand ideas and concepts. And Jupiter being that king planet, that king energy, us stepping into our Christedhood, right? Being Christed or anointed, that anointing of the Holy Spirit, which comes through the pineal gland, which is the opening of our mind's eye, our third eye, right? And allowing us to perceive the world in an entirely different manner. Remember, if thine eye be single, then thy whole body be filled with light. Well, we're stepping into all of the light. The entire prism or spectrum of those 7 rays now. We're leaving, the 6 and having that one eye closed and stepping into the 7, right? Stepping into the Godhead within each and every one of us. Stepping into that anointing within each and every one of us. We're taking off the constriction and restrictions and controlling kind of borders and apparatus of Saturn energy. And we're finding ourselves carrying that pail of water, right? We're no longer, sinking in the water, right? The water's above and below the firmament. We're not even walking on it like Christ did. Showing his mastery over the waters. Right? Remember, you're 80% water. The earth is 80% water. Water retains memory. Okay, so this holds the Akashic record within it, just the same as cosmic rays and information has the Akashic in it. It's in all of the different elements, right? But as we, find ourselves processing through the equinox, right? Going through each of these signs, that's what we're doing, is mastering each archetypical aspect of the divine wholeness of that zodiacal wheel, which is God, the source. Okay? And each archetypical expression, whether it's Pisces and that Jupiterian energy, that water energy, or it's Aquarian energy, right? And it's something more akin to, this air and this ability to have mastery over the water. He's carrying the pail of water. So he has the water with him. He's able to use the element if he needs it. He's mastered that element, and he's now stepping into the air. And we always hear Satan being related to the prince of the power of the air. Right? The God of this world. We're stepping into that energy where Satan, Saturn is no longer demonized, seen as an external deistic force, but it's now seen as an internal force within us, right? And a reflective force. And we're seeing the reality for what it truly is and saying, whoa, this black mirror, this Saturnian mirror that was here, this cube, this box that I've been in, was really, it was really so I could see my own shit. That's why the mirror's here. That's why we're made in an image, an illusion, a holographic projection. So we can see our own shit, see our own shadow, heal our own shadow, take off the bounds or bindings of karma. And however many lifetimes or expressions we've experienced, we're now overcoming that. We're no longer trapped in, a Saturnian system of debt, but we're finding freedom in the air. We're able to fly now. So just like information flies across the ethers today, right, we are doing the same thing telepathically, whether we're aware of that or not. Right? We're constantly sending and receiving signals and information from the universe into one another. You ever think about somebody and then all of a sudden they call? right? Well, that's because you're communicating on a telepathic level. You ever, think about something negative that's going to happen, and all of a sudden, boom, that one thing you feared right in your face. It's because you're calling that experience to you. This is, attraction at its best and its worst. But we're now understanding how all of this actually works, the fundamental building blocks of our reality, and we're able to take this, put ourselves to frame our energy, to square our energy, if you will, frame that energy, and really step into our own power. And take that power, take that strength, that stability. We're no longer being swayed to and fro and have the double-mindedness of the old duality, right? We're now, we've made the two become one now. We're able to master that water element, and we're able to fly into that air and to utilize that air, right? And understand that that's how thoughts travel, right? It's through the air. That's where the thoughts are coming from. So now it's going to be mainly about, can we control the thoughts? Can we discern and take what we've learned through this experience and utilize it to our best, our greatest good, our path of least resistance? Can we do that now? And can we do it in such a way that it inspires the rest of humanity to do the same? I can tell you one way it's not going to happen. If we continue to hold on to judgment, right? If you're constantly worried about, that speck in your brother's eye when you have a log in your own, If we have hearts of unforgiveness, it's not going to happen that way, right? I can tell you this from experience, I don't want to say I regret anything because I don't live with regrets. I do what I do, I say what I say, and it is what it is. But there's times where I've been forthcoming with personal things that have happened in my life, and I look in hindsight, being 2020, I'm like, damn. I expressed something that was very hard for me and uncomfortable to express, and a person will take information like that, something that's sensitive to you, whether it's you being abused or having addictions or whatever, right? And then use that same information to harvest or harness unforgiveness in their hearts. When we're seeking this openness, we're seeking healing by expressing ourselves in our deepest, darkest aspects of our shadow, and people who haven't overcome their own shadow don't want to allow you to overcome yours. People who still haven't gotten comfortable in their own skin and are able to forgive their own selves can't find it in their hearts to forgive you, right? People that are still passing judgment on themselves on a daily basis can't help but to pass judgment on others because they need to lower others to how they feel. That's how, we meet each other where we're at vibrationally, right? So if I'm feeling really fucking good, right, and I'm living on high vibrations, I'm living in high vibes, high consciousness, right, then I'm going to want to bring you with me. I'm going to want to build you up. I'm not going to want to shackle you, bind you, or weigh you down with, your fuck-ups from the past, or weigh you down with, the things that I see that are deficient in you, which are really a reflection of the things that I'm insecure about being deficient in me, that mirroring. But I'm going to want to free you of the things that bind you, the things that hold you back, the things that keep you from growing. Right? I'm going to want to share as much expressions of love and positivity and kindness and forgiveness and all the good things in this world that are going to help to, lighten your load. It's going to help to bring healing. It's going to bring light into your life and make that darkness flee. Right? And you're going to receive the information of wherever I'm speaking it from. So if I'm speaking at a low negative place, it's going to come back low and negative. And if you're at a low and negative place, you're only going to perceive everything as low and negative. Right? And this is where we're at. We're trying to find this fine-tuned balance of how can we get everybody else on this wave or get them close to this or get them intrigued enough by this wave to want to ride it with us. Right? It's a small group of people. And you guys are the chosen ones. And I say that not being arrogant or egotistical in any way, shape, or form. I say this as like more of a congratulatory thing. Like, you are chosen. If you're at this point in the game, right, and you're still doing this, right, you're still riding this ride, you're still rocking with it right now, right, there's something special about you. It's like, how many people have fallen off during this great falling away? How many people have not been able to carry the load of their own selves? How many people have not been able to let go of their old, perceived reality, the old labels that they've worn? How many people chose to subject themselves to experimental procedures because they couldn't let go of a job because it identified who they were? I'm a nurse. I'm a doctor. I'm a this. I'm a that. Are you? Are you your job title, your occupation? Is that what occupies your soul, your mind, body, and spirit? Are you a reflection of your job, or is your job, your work, a reflection of you? See, you have no problem releasing something when it's an expression of self. Like, if you love it, let it go, right? It's what we cling on to because it's identifying, it brings us comfort. But see, anytime we grow, we change, we evolve. And part of change is that uncomfortableness of allowing change to actually happen. And that's where we're at right now. We're transitioning from Saturn to Aquarius, right? That constricting paternal masculine energy to something far more feminine, right? We're seeing the divine feminine actually rise. Women rise and become empowered, right? Think about the last century and the leaps and bounds that women have taken. And if you're still in that old patriarchal, insecure energy as a masculine, that's probably hard. That's probably a hard pill to swallow. Not all, we just 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 300 years ago, women were seen as possessions. They weren't even allowed to fucking vote. Right? And now here they are, stepping to the forefront and taking their age now and running with it and being empowered and saying, no, fuck you. I'm not nobody's trophy. I'm not nobody's possession. Right? I'm not an object, motherfucker. I'm a person. I'm a living soul. I'm an expression of the divine. An equal expression, or maybe more so in some cases. A lot of fuckboys out there these days. And that speaks to the spiritual things too. Because we know as above, so below. So we've neglected our divine feminine so long. Think about religion, man. Every god is a man, is it not? All the good ones are. Aren't they? Say it ain't so. Jesus, the Christ, the divine feminine, which I see Christ as a feminine energy, is a guy. Right? It is a guy. You look at the Nag Hammadi, a lot of the different, creation mythos in the Nag Hammadi talk about the child of the divine masculine and feminine being a girl. Right? When everything was created. We look at Pistis Sophia. Right? Even so much so that technology is reflecting the same thing. AI Sophia, the robot Sophia. Right? Reflecting the same thing, yet we're not catching on. People were being burnt at the stake for witchcraft, for, dark magical practices because they were worshiping the feminine. And what's really crazy about it, when you look at a lot of the controlling structures, especially in the religious world, these controlling structures have you worshiping the external masculine, the distorted patriarchal masculine, as they worship the divine feminine in secret. How's that work? How's that working out for you, by the way? You need balance, man. You need both. And I know, these feminist motherfuckers, they have really shitted it up for women and empowerment, and they make a mockery of being truly feminine and in your power. It has nothing to do with wearing a fucking pussy hat and acting like a trash bag on the street. That's a joke. That's a joke. Same way like a Ku Klux Klan or something's parading around fucking, burning racist shit. That's a joke. There's no pride or anything in your culture when you hate someone else. When it comes out hateful and derogatory. When it makes a mockery. And we see this happening in every aspect of society. Whether we look at like gay pride, right? And we'll see in the media and in the news, drag queens inappropriately reading things with children and shit and having them on their laps and very uncomfortable, uncouth kind of situations. It's like, do you not see why this is done? It's because they don't want you to integrate any of this. They don't want you to transfigure any of these things or transform yourself and your perspective of the world. They want to keep you polarized, right? In that distorted masculine perspective. They don't want you to have that creative, intuitive, feminine aspect to you because you would be a whole being that way. You'd have both wolves on board, so to speak, right? Not just one. Not just the lower, lesser. You would have the greater, higher. You would have the nurturing, creative aspect of your feminine working with you as well to feed and nurture that lower self, that little soul, that shadow. And if you had that going on, you wouldn't have so many, inner child wounds because your spiritual parents were beating the fucking shit out of you, your entire being in existence. We wonder why we're so restricted and afraid to express ourselves and truly embrace who we are now. It's like we've had an abusive fucking daddy for how long, spiritually? Satan, God of this world, whooping our asses with a belt. Fuck a belt, he's been using damn, extension cords. He's been just ruthless with it. Judgment, judgment, judgment. Restriction, restriction, restriction. Hell no, you can't be you or an individual. What the fuck you talking about? That's against the rules. It's dogmatic. They need that dogma. Because without it, you might just be who you are. Without it, you might just have no shame in who you are. No matter what that is. And never let somebody shame you for who you are. And I don't care what it is you're into. Like, you are you for a reason. You were born the way you are for a reason, man. And we have people of all walks of life that watch this channel. Gay, straight, black, white, left, right, every fucking possible paradigm or label you can think of, we've all worn them. We've all worn them and allowed ourselves to be constricted by said labels because we were living in ego. We were living only in masculine, lower, lesser, shadow. And we created these wounds that have restricted us and held us back and made us kind of defunct in our own spirituality where it's been hard to fucking process this shit and really even get past it. And think about it too, whatever relationship you have with your parental units, right, your parents, you will chase that relationship dynamic your entire fucking life. Think of it in the spiritual aspect. Your abusive, controlling daddy, right? Abusive, controlling Satan, Hasatan, whooping that ass every time you look at him sideways, every time you question. Ye have little faith. Let me curse you like Job. Let me put sores and wounds all over you. Let me punish you and throw you in the pits of hell. I'll teach you not to conform. You rebellious spirit, you. As the father of all rebellion, But what's he rebelling against? What's he truly rebelling against? If God is all, the source is all, masculine and feminine, what is he rebelling against? He's rebelling against that mother side, that nurturing, that loving side. We think of that as God the Father, right? Most of us, we like, oh, God the Father is like that, right? Loving, caring, creative, right? The creator. We don't think of it as a mom, even though it's very feminine. We look at Christ, selfless, committed, sacrificial. How many mothers in real life, physical life, sacrifice themselves on a daily fucking basis for the good of their families, their children, their husbands, and never are recognized for it, never feel appreciated for it? This is a trickle-down effect from the spirit, right? We don't appreciate that aspect spiritually. It's hidden away. It's just expected. It's like, yeah, we don't know where it comes from. We just know it's here. We don't give a fuck to say thank you. We don't give a fuck to say, man, isn't it beautiful that God has so many aspects? He's even got a nurturing mother-like aspect that feeds us, breastfeeds us, right, with the spirit of life. Brings us fertility in all areas of our life, like the morning dew, springtime, in all areas of our life we have springtime if we want it, if we embrace it. And how freeing is that energy, that feminine energy, right? It's not like making a mockery of yourself wearing a pussy hat. It's the freedom to express who you are truly and freely, without need to justify or reason, but to be just because you be, to live just because you live. Well, I'm not going to shut down the pages, okay, guys? I'm not going to close down pages or anything like that. So if anybody's worried about that, I won't be doing that. I will leave the sites up and all of that. So just kind of speaking to the new channel stuff, that's what will happen. All of it will stay up. I will just be transforming the channels into tarot and astrology, and I will try to do something like this, at least for a little while. We'll see how it goes. This is new territory for me. New territory for all of us, right? We're all being forced. That's what God does. God's like, man, you want to be stagnant? You want mediocrity? Well, then I'll force that change. I'll force your hand. I'll force your hand by making things difficult, by creating friction. That's why we need the darkness too. We need the negativity too. We don't call on it, attract it, and invoke it in our lives because we're stupid. But we need that antagonist to act like that to stimulate us to progression, to stimulate us to growth. And that's what's happened in my life, right? Just with the channel and stuff. It's like, oh, I got all this hate now and, and no support now. It's like I have no choice. But that's what I needed to get that boot in my ass to point me in the right direction, to say, okay, this is how I can feed people spiritually in a healthy, positive way. This is how I can create a new something for the new reality, the new paradigm. This is something that's going to allow creativity and allow something for growth, and take something that we've been researching, working, and getting the gnosis and knowledge on, and refine it to like a fine-tuned craft, right? Like something we can say, hey, this is the result of all of my work, right? Look how I use my intuitive gifts, right? Look how I express myself through these different avenues, whether it's divination or astrology or whatever. It doesn't matter whether you paint pictures, make music, write poetry. That whatever your gift is to the world, is it speaking? Is it singing? Is it dancing? Is it just loving? Giving? Helping? Whatever your gift is to the world, this is your time to express it. This is your time to really embrace who you are and be you. If not, why have we done all this work? Why have we worked so hard together? If we're not going to turn it into something that can be used in this reality and in this paradigm. I didn't store up all the knowledge to keep it for myself. Neither did you. We learn how to love ourselves so we can better love others. We learn how to truly serve ourselves so we can better serve others. And I hate the fucking spiritual movements now that try to act like everything. It's like it's sneaky. It's like they make everything about self now. It's like, what the fuck happened to where it's like, so one-sided to where, we've taken spirituality and used it as an excuse to be selfish and stingy and greedy and hateful and everything that religion and dogma has done for us and indoctrination has done for us. We've now taken a spiritual movement of awakening and ascension and fucking transformed it to the same bullshit. Come on, man. Have we not grown? Or are people just continuing to spiritualize the ego? Right? And one of my viewers years ago taught me about that. She was like, John, she's like, people are just spiritualizing the ego, and that concept slapped me in the fucking face. It's like, what? What did you just say to me? Spiritualizing the ego. So it means you're not really even truly tuning and tapping into spirit at all. Right? You're just seeming to be spiritual. You're talking spiritual, but you're not walking in it in any way, shape, form, or facet. You're not living by these principles. You're not a disciple. You're not disciplined in your practice. You're not mastering self or any craft at all. You're just polishing up the ego so you look better for people, so you appear better for people, so you sound smarter for people, for yourself. So you feel important. You feel righteous. Spiritualizing the ego. But see, we're leaving Saturn. We're stepping outside the bounds. Neptune and Uranus. See, this energy as we're stepping into now is about dreams, bro. And it's not about being trapped in, the God of dreams world. It's about becoming the God of dreams yourself. Can you do that, though, is a question. Do you want to keep swimming in the Piscean waters and drowning in that shit, trying to, get yourself stable enough so you can maybe walk on top of it like Peter until you take your eyes off of the prize and then you sink again? Keep playing that game, dancing that dance? Is that what you want to do forever? Do you want to grab the fucking bucket of that water and take off and fly? Spin your own dream. Ride the waves of the air, the ether, and control the flow of thoughts that come in. Attract the thoughts that you want by the mindset you stand in. The energy you framed, you've squared, and you're standing in. Strong in, your foundation in. Right? That bedrock. Right? That cornerstone. And notice it's a cornerstone because a corner is a 90-degree angle. And notice I'm talking about squaring your energy, angling your energy, creating that foundation, that building block, that cornerstone. That way you can build on top of that. That's how you do it. And it starts with a mind frame. Notice, a frame, an angle. Once again, a mind state. A solid state, because it's a foundation, a bedrock, solid, rock solid. How do we do that? Well, we remember our first love. What is our first love? What is your first love? I have abandonment issues and separation anxiety. Dude, I think that's incredibly, incredibly brave of you to say, honestly. So I applaud you for that, recognizing that within yourself and having the bravery to say that amongst people. But you know you're with family, Jacques. So, and I love you, by the way, Jacques Renew. They call the ego by Spirit's name. I love that, Deborah. I love that. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah, well, I don't know. You know, if we're gonna, I don't know if you're trying to make. Please don't come in here making negative comments. If you're trying to make derogatory statements, I will block you. You know, but like I said, you know, I have abandonment issues. That's something I've had to work on. Think about it. God dropped us off here. Our Father dropped us off here and just kind of left us to fend for ourselves. Starts in the spirit, dude. Right? Here's this rule book. You better follow all the rules. If not, you're going to burn in hell eternally. And I'm not going to be there for you. And if you don't believe every bit of this man-made book, then I don't have your back at all. Matter of fact, not only do I not have your back and I've abandoned you, but I'll come back just to beat your ass. I will pay attention to you as your abusive father, Satan, Hasatan. I will pay attention to you when it's time to punish you. You ever seen a child that only gets attention when they act negatively? Right? They call them problem children. It's a problem child. Right? Problem child. Parents only look at them when they're acting out. They're acting a damn fool in the store, right? They get their ass whooped or get yelled at, and that's the only attention they truly get. So they start discovering that that's the way to get attention, so they rebel. It's like, well, mom and dad don't even look at me unless I'm doing something they don't like. Do you see how that translates from spirit to the real world? How we're a bunch of rebellious children down here, right? Just wanting attention from the Father, acting out, acting crazy, breaking all the rules. It's like, well, at least when you whoop my ass, you know, like I know you're there. And those abandonment issues, like Jacques was talking about, it goes deep, man. Our Father put us here like a sperm donor, right? Right? Single parent shit. That's how the divine feminine probably feels. It's like, whoa, I'm raising this kid by myself. Dad isn't in the picture no more. We've lost touch of that, and see how it's translated to, you see now, more common than ever. Women are doing that now. Walking out on their children. Right? Because that divine feminine presence it's absent. Right? And it's translating into the real world. It's going from spirit to real. Or what we perceive to be real. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't. Hey, people. Hey, that's heroin. You know, I struggled with heroin for years. And then I struggled with methadone and then Suboxone after that. So I definitely understand opioid dependency. And that's big, big, big to even be able to admit that. And that's what I mean. One of the greatest setbacks I've ever had was a couple years ago, I told people like, I'm addicted to, a substance and I'm struggling. And I've never lived it down since. People to this day still leave the nastiest comments and call me a junkie and everything. And, anytime I ask for support, it's just for drugs. It couldn't be because I actually want to, make a career or a living or anything, so it takes a lot of bravery to admit your flaws. It takes a lot of bravery to admit what you struggle with. And that goes for every one of you, whether it's abandonment issues or it's heroin, man. It's like we have to empower ourselves, and have to understand that things that we struggle with, they're not a reflection of our deficiencies. They're not. our flaws, our mistakes, for us to wear like a badge of shame forever. They're lessons for us to learn from. They're wounds. We were trying to self-medicate because we were trying to heal an aspect within ourselves, guys. It wasn't because we were bad people. You know, we're trying to find that medication to heal ourselves. And now we're learning that we have a different type of salve for our eyes, and it's spiritual. You know, what we were missing and we were reaching for and trying to fill that hole in our soul with, whether we was doing it with sex, drugs, alcohol, gambling, shopping, whatever you were trying to fill yourself up with, now you see that cannot be filled by anything in this world. That it cannot be filled externally whatsoever. That it's a hole on the inside. And that pain, that trauma that's created by that hole, by that separation, by that abandonment, by that disconnection, is something that can only be healed through reconnecting. Stepping out of government name, government identity into true sovereign identity. True sovereign connection to the divine masculine and feminine. To me, God isn't male or female. God is all. God has both. God expresses itself through every aspect, every archetype. Been on Subutex for a decade, yes. Yep. It saved a lot of people's lives. And well, you know what? The past is our past because those are lessons we needed on the path we're on now, right? You needed to see that, you know, maybe you were trying to dull your senses, and we've all done this through a variety of ways. We've tried to, you know, dull the pain of life, dull the agony, right, of that separation, of that feeling of lack, that constriction, that restriction, and we wanted to break free, and we tried to break free through rebellious acts. We're like, well, fuck it. If I can't break the system, you know, or break out of the system, I'll break the damn system, which was not healthy. That's toxic, right? Trust me, I've done it for years. I made a living off of being toxic, basically. Right? That was not my intention. My intentions were pure, but the road to hell is paved with good intentions. You know, I wanted to shake people awake. I wanted to show them the truth and how serious it was. You know, and it led to kind of more fear-based things. You know, it led to focusing on negativity. It led to chasing my tail with conspiracies that were, you know, government fucking psyops to start with. Don't worry about the path. Focus on the outcome. I feel like that's yes and no, Rachel. Focus on the outcome. Set your intention for the outcome, but focus on the now, the experience, the present moment. And breathing in the present moment, becoming the breath of the present moment. Pre-recorded? Not pre-recorded. Arkan, I can't see your whole name there. Not pre-recorded. This is live, homie. Thank you for watching over on Trovo. Let me see your name. Archangel over on Trovo. Not pre-recorded. But I'm glad to have you. Spot on. Let's take a look here at the Saturnian energy, though. I couldn't fit into my body for a while because my frequency was too strong, but now I can. I use my abilities now. Me too, man. I feel like it wasn't that I couldn't fit into my body, because I did have a very strong presence when I shifted into the higher frequencies and higher energies. And yes, I was all over the place, but it's because I didn't have a right frame or base, or, I didn't square my energy correctly, because I was so used to overcompensating throughout my life from different forms of abuse and, insecurities and projections that I created through, the spiritual deficiencies of not being connected to source, for so long, and being indoctrinated into the dogmas of the system, that I tried to externalize my energy to right the world around me. Because I was just seeking stability. I was just seeking peace. I was just seeking wholeness. So the only way my world ever felt whole was when I took my energy and put the focus on others. So then when my energy really grew and expanded, I had a hard time keeping it internal. It was like people were latching onto my energy and pulling it away from me, right? Stealing that energy, feeding off of that energy. Or I was creating unhealthy situations that weren't reciprocated because I would give and give and give. And spiritual people do this all the time. We give and give and give, and then our cup's empty. Our cup's empty, and we're like, what the fuck? It doesn't pay to be good. It doesn't pay to be kind. It doesn't pay to be selfless, but it does. You just have to do it in a correct manner, a healthy way. We have to understand that when we're givers, that takers look for givers to feed on. We have to understand that when we're empaths, that narcissists look for empaths to feed on. This is where all that knowledge that you've learned and attained comes in handy now. Mastering your craft, mastering yourself, mastering your thoughts, mastering emotions, mastering all of this, right? Because it allows you to have the correct discernment to really see with clarity, right? Does this person mean me well? Is our energy compatible, right? Are they giving the same amount that I'm giving, right? And you can't allow people to continuously take and take and take and, want to drain you for all you have and give nothing back, right? That's how we get ourselves in unhealthy attachments and situations. And we do it with relationships. We do it with jobs. We do it, in so many different dynamics, right? Think about what, most churches are about, right? You're praying, you're giving your money, you're on your knees day and night, dedicated to this deity, giving your energy, giving your soul over to this entity, hoping that they throw you a fucking dime, hoping they throw you, their breadcrumb in you back. Like, oh, if you don't sacrifice to me, you get nothing. What kind of God is that? What kind of God is that? Where we spend day and night worshiping before the throne and get nothing back. That sounds like a parasite to me, not a God. And see, that's the type of gods we've created through our consciousness, right? See, spirit is going to reflect whatever we create. That's why it's the power of the air, right? The thoughts, right? So understanding that our thoughts are what creates the reality, and it's how we frame that intent, that intention, set our intention, set the outcome that we want to achieve, we want to attain first. We say, okay, I want a God that's going to serve me back. Right? I will serve with my whole life, but I want to receive whole life back. I'll serve with my whole heart, but I want to receive my whole heart back. I want to see fullness and abundance and love and prosperity and wisdom and knowledge by giving myself to this. I want to receive back. I'm going to be in relationships, but I'm going to create boundaries to make sure I'm never taken advantage of in ways that I'm uncomfortable with. Right? And that's huge. We don't think about this in spirituality. Right? So that's why we get lukewarm religion people. Right? They're like, okay, well, my boundaries are, I'm willing to do this, this, and this rule, but I don't like this rule, so, right? It's like they're compromising what they truly believe to fit into a paradigm, a label, a religion. It's like, dude, if you don't believe in monogamy, then why the fuck are you trying to pretend you're a Christian? You're not. You don't have to wear that label. You don't have to wear that hat. Wear what you like to wear, what fits you, what serves you, what makes you feel good, what makes you feel whole, what you can live with, what makes you feel right with the world. Whether that's be a monogamous or a damn swinger. It's like neither here nor there what your beliefs or things are. But stop trying to conform to these cookie cutter constructs, and dogmatic indoctrinations that the world's been giving us for so goddamn long, and it's so outdated, it's not funny. Be a true and creative unique version of you. One you're comfortable with, one that, you feel good in your own skin, you feel whole in your life, you feel fulfillment in all areas, and allow your creator to serve your strengths and your weaknesses accordingly, because your creator will. I do not hate chat at all. I love chat. Anybody knows me, I've been a live streamer for years. I hate disrespect. I hate meanness. I hate judgment. In ancient Rome, religion and myth, Saturn, Latin for Saturnus, was a god of agriculture, liberation, and time. Right? Chronos. His reign was depicted as a golden age of abundance and peace. How different is that than what we're taught? How long have I been streaming? I've been doing this since 2015. Podcast since 2015. YouTube 2016. This channel started 2018. I've been deleted a couple times. But yeah, for quite a while. I appreciate you asking, actually. So thank you for that. Saturnus, the god of agriculture, liberation, and time. His reign was depicted as a golden age of abundance and peace. He was thus a god of wealth. And the temple of Saturn in the Roman Forum housed the state treasury. He was celebrated in December of what is perhaps the most famous of the Roman festivals, Saturnalia, the time of feasting, role reversals, free speech, gift giving, and revelry. Saturn, the planet, and Saturday are both named after the god. Now think about how the world inverses that. Remember, we are in a reflection of the waters above. So everything is from an inverse perspective when it externalizes and manifests itself through the distortion that we call our reality, right? So we see people with this skewed view of how the world is, and they take it and they twist it. We see here that Saturn, damn, looked you up and you're famous. I don't know about that, but thanks. I don't know about that. Done interviews and stuff. Yeah, I'm going to be on Canvas Rebel magazine next. So thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you. But I don't feel like I'm famous, but thank you. But feasting, right? Role reversals, free speech, gift giving, okay? Wealth, abundance, peace, a golden age. And we look at Saturn not as a golden age at all, right? This grandfatherly, right, architect of this construct of beauty. We don't look at it like that at all. We see this fucking judgmental, long-bearded piece of shit in the clouds, right, that actually wants us to sell our soul for abundance and wealth. It's not a given, right? You sell your soul to Satan or Saturn to get your wealth, right? See how perverse it's gotten? Okay? And it's a treasury, right? Because in the heavens, that's where the treasure is. The kingdom of heaven is within. So the treasure's within each and every one of us, man. Okay? A time of feasting. Role reversals. And think about it too, that feasting, that is abundance. It's spiritual food, what really edifies us in, so many different ways, whether it's, knowledge or it's physical feasting, right? Where you're eating, drinking, being merry, or, having different pleasures, those things are all, different forms and facets of feasting, spiritually, and getting the things that we want out of life and really bringing happiness to all of us in ways that serve us, right? In positive ways. And however you choose to express that, however you choose to express that. Did I really go to jail? Definitely. I've been to jail. I have been to jail before, yes. I'm not sure how that's relevant, but yes, I have. I've been to prison. In 2009, I went to prison. And my past is my past. I'm not ashamed of it. I feel like if I didn't have those experiences that impacted my life, whether they were negative or not, or came from, different things that were not, not so positive at the time, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to, outgrow some of those things and to really learn from some of those things and transmute those things and turn them into positives in my life, These role reversals and free speech and gift giving. I was in prison for a year. Yeah, I know. Who hasn't been to jail? Johnny. Yeah, I was in prison for a year. I I'm not trying to dodge your questions or anything. I'm just trying to keep it on topic a little bit. You know, and I'll even incorporate this a little bit. You know, like if you think about it too. Like, we're never the same person, and this is what's beautiful about the precession of the equinox. This is what's beautiful about energy, and this is what's beautiful about ascension and awakening. Right? You can look back, you know, Archangel here is looking me up, and he's like, wow, you know, he or she looking me up like, wow, you know, look at these, you know, there's so much information, right? It's like, well, look where you've come from and look where you're at. Look where you've been and look where you're going. Right? We transform, and we're entirely different people daily sometimes. It's like we're reborn daily sometimes. You know, they say every 5 years, not only do your taste buds change, but you're like a rebirth into a new person every 5 years. How many people can say that they experienced that too? Your past has made you who you are today. Thank you, Janine. Absolutely has. No judgment here in the present. Absolutely. Well, that's okay. And just because you have or haven't been to jail it's not a competition of I'm a better than or I'm a less than because I have or haven't. It's just an experience some of us have had and some of us have not. And those of us who have, maybe we needed that experience. Maybe we needed that separation from our family and friends and those that we love to learn how to appreciate them. Maybe we needed that time out to be able to see we were fucking up and we were on the wrong path. You know, and like that's kind of give us that moment with ourselves. You know? Yeah, I've been several times too. No, don't take it wrong. I'm not saying it's a competition. I just try to take everything and use it as a lesson, a teaching opportunity. You know, so often in society we do kind of compare ourselves by those measures. We say, well, how much money do you make? How much trouble you've been in? How many relationships you've been in? How much stability have you created? And these are the measures we judge ourselves by, and they're not true measures. Because you can find the wealthiest people in the world that have never experienced trial and tribulation, and they can be the most unhappy people in the world, the most irresponsible, inconsiderate people in the world. You know, and the people that have struggled and grinded, you know, and they've had these stories of where they've overcome this tremendous adversity. It builds and shapes and molds this fucking fantastic character, right? This that refuse to die attitude, and I feel like that is our group. That's our community. They're a bunch of hard to kill, refuse to die ass people. We're like, nah. I don't care what society's throwing down, right? This is what I believe. This is what I feel. This is what I think. This is who I am. I don't care what I've been through, right? It's only used as tools or ways to shape who I am today. I've taken every experience and the true magician that I am, I've made the magic out of that and transmuted that and molded it into something for my benefit. Every single experience in life, no matter what it is, can all be used for good. Absolutely, cleric. That's what's up. Without the dark times, would you appreciate the good as much? It's almost as of the darkest times make people appreciate the light even more. And that's absolutely true. And that's the beauty of duality. Right? That is something we can honestly say that dualistic reality has taught us. How often do we seek and desire love through loneliness? Don't lie. I know the spiritual communities act like you should never be lonely, but they're full of shit. True alchemy, absolutely, Rachel. Absolutely. See, spiritual communities now, this fake spirituality, the spiritualizing the ego shit that they do all over the place now, they act like loneliness is like a symptom of your inadequacy or something. Like, oh, you're sick in your soul because you're lonely. No, we are a social structured fucking organism. What we need, you're like, oh, you can't need nobody. Bullshit. Our species would be extinct if we didn't have physical needs, emotional needs, mental needs, spiritual needs, and we need each other. We need each other. We get lonely. I've been lonely, right? And it's through that loneliness, and I'm not talking about the kind of person that can't enjoy their own company. It's like, if you can't enjoy your own company, then what makes you think someone else is going to enjoy your ass? You know what I mean? You got to be able to do it on your own and not have to have people at all times. But it is more than okay to need people in your life, to need those human connections, to need those interactions. And through that loneliness, right, you have the desire for love and connectedness, right? Through that pain, right, you have a desire for happiness, right? That trauma, that pain, you have a desire for pleasure, relief, release, right? You see how the polarity works? The only penance we have is change. That is beautiful. Beautiful, actually. That is beautiful. Seriously beautiful. And change is uncomfortable, is it not? It's uncomfortable. It's never growing, and that's why they're called growing pains, right? Because it can be painful to have to release things that no longer serve us if we're attached to them. How many people have had to let someone go out of their life that they didn't really want to let go, but they knew they just were not serving their highest good, and that they were harming them, hindering them, restricting them, not allowing them to grow? I have. I've had to let go people I loved. Loved dearly. Because I couldn't allow myself to be treated certain ways. I couldn't allow myself to be stifled in my growth, or my morals, my principles compromised. I couldn't allow it. So I had to release people I cared about deeply. But see, God restores all things. So even though I've had to let go of love, right? Love returned back to me in bigger and more beautiful, healthier ways. Because I was willing to release. I was willing to let go. I was willing to sacrifice, right? Yeah, I would absolutely forgive you, Brent. I love you, brother. I don't hold anything against you, man. So, and I don't want people to feel like if I've cut contact or connection with you that it's because I hate you or I'm not forgiving towards you. I'm trying to create healthy connections in my life, positive connections in my life. That's the only reason. And I feel like if we lost our healthy dynamic, then we're not serving each other, any way, shape, or form. But you're always here. You're always welcome, to the shows. I love you. So, it is what it is. People, we make mistakes. We misjudge things. We act out of emotion sometimes. So don't beat yourself up. Well, you know what? And I'll be honest, I'm going to give you a personal situation here. The last time I was, in love with somebody, that's what I had to do. I had to let this person go. I was in a situation to where I felt like I was being asked, not by the person directly, but by myself, my higher self, to stand up for myself. I wasn't being treated in ways that I felt were truly loving. I wasn't compatible with the morals or beliefs of the person. And it's not to diminish them in any way, shape, or form. Beautiful person. Good person. But we didn't see eye to eye on certain things. And because of that, it created an unhealthy dynamic that was toxic and restricting me and not allowing me to grow, or them, right? And I had to walk away from, something that it hurt to walk away from, but I knew in the long run it was going to release me of toxic connections that I was feeding into, that were draining me, literally draining my life force from me, And as a result of that, it gave me the opportunity to really, I got a whole new sense of confidence in myself when it comes to, healthy relationships and boundaries, because I was able to walk away from an unhealthy one. I was able to say, okay, no, if you can't respect my boundaries, I'm going in a different direction, right? I'm going to live and let live. I'm going to keep it moving, keep it pushing. Because this is what's best for me. It might not be best for this relationship, and it may have to end, but it's what's best for me, and it's what's going to allow me to really, truly embody myself and who I am and express that in a positive, healthy way. And I'm going to feel better alone, being respected and loving myself and just, living my life, than I'm going to feel in a relationship where I feel disrespected, unappreciated, right? Or where I feel like I'm compromising my morals to try to please somebody else. That's never good. And God rewarded me in a major way. Matter of fact, it was so crazy. It was like, this was back in, I don't want to say dates, but let's just put it this way. Jupiter retrograde comes around, and it's all about missed opportunities. So I have this very similar thing go on where I meet somebody new, and there's, a lot of similarities in the situation. It's like this hidden treasure. It's like a chance to do something again. Not with the same person, a new experience, but a person that was more compatible, that had the same morals as me, that had the same ideas or perspective on what a relationship is, that, I didn't even have to truly speak on my boundaries because they were mutually respected, right? And it's like the universe, God has a way of rewarding us for being faithful to ourselves when we need to be. It doesn't mean we can't be faithful to others. We definitely should. We should always be supporting each other, loving each other, lifting each other up, offering anything we can, within reason to one another to help us grow, to heal, right, to evolve. But we first have to love ourselves and keep ourselves good so we can do that. Absolutely. Time for us to observe, acknowledge, accept, negate, reframe, and redirect. Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, and because I was able to release, relationships and situations that didn't serve my highest good, God brought back around something, another opportunity, another chance in a frequency that was, a vibrational match for where I'm at. Right? So we're tested all the time. It's like, will we compromise ourselves and lower our standards, lower our frequency, compromise our morals, take a step down or a step backwards because we want to satiate our physical impulses? Right? It's like, I don't want to be lonely again, so I'm going to settle. Right? Settle as in sink in the ground. Right? Sink into the earth, into mediocrity for the sake of stability. It's not truly a foundation. I mean, it is one, but it's the sense of being buried. That was a syncretism. And what happened, though, when we stopped settling, when we pass that test and we say, okay, I'm being tested right now, can I let go of what I believe is for me and accept what truly is for me? having the knowing and the faith in myself and in the Creator that all things work for my good and I'm always exactly where I need to be when I need to be there. That whatever is for me is always for me and it can never be taken away. So whether it's a relationship, a job, or whatever, right? If I let that go and it doesn't return to me, it never was mine to begin with, or it was mine for a limited time. A limited period to grow, to learn, to evolve, to overcome, to change. And what truly is meant for me can now come in because I've released and I've made room for it. Right? And that's why, like, in a relationship, I think it never works when we try to, and think about this energetically too. Until we release our old paradigm, do we truly have room for the new understanding? The new awareness? Truly, though? It's like a third-party situation, ain't it? It's like you're trying to keep that connection with your old reality, your old world, while you're trying to build something new. It just don't fucking work. Right? It don't work. You can't serve two masters. Same thing in a relationship. You ever seen someone stuck in their old relationship, won't let the shit go, but trying to start something new? It's like, dude, good luck with that. Good luck with that. You're still stuck in the past, then you can't move forward. Right? You can't move forward. You're going to give where attention goes, energy flows. So if you got your energy looking backwards or looking down, right, in vibration and frequency, what makes you think that you and someone else are going to grow upward and grow outward and expand together if you both don't have your focus on expansion? I mean, you might for a little while if one of you is giving everything, right, until you're drained. And same thing with a career, right? A job. If we're still working that piss job that, it has us miserable and shit, but, we're like, oh, okay, I'm gonna start this, I'm gonna do this. It's like, you know what? You can't really pursue that dream career until you pursue that dream career. You can't pursue that dream relationship till you let go of the toxic relationships and pursue that dream relationship. You can't pursue the new reality, the new paradigm, the new energy, the new consciousness, the new expression until you release the old. Under Saturn's rule, humans enjoyed the spontaneous bounty of the earth without labor in a state of social egalitarianism. The revelries of Saturnalia were supposed to reflect the condition of lost mythical age, not all of them desirable except as a temporary release from the civilized constraint. According to Varro, Saturn's name was derived from Ab Satu, from the word for sowing. You reap what you sow. Another of his epithets that referred to his agricultural functions was sterculus, or stercus, manure. Agriculture was central to Roman identity, and Saturn was a part of an archaic Roman religion. His name appears in the ancient hymn of the Salian priest, and his temple was in the oldest known to have been recorded by the pontiffs. It was located at the base of Capitoline Hill, and a row of columns from the last rebuilding of the temple still stand. Saturn's North Pole, the hexagon. Saturn's hexagon, persistent approximately hexagonal cloud pattern around the North Pole of the planet Saturn, located about 70 degrees north, right? There's that 78, right? 7 and 8. And when we look at that too, right, that's 15, right? 1 plus 5 is 6. 6 is the number of Saturn. North, the sides of north in the Bible, right? The north is the deep or the hidden. It's space. The sides of the hexagon are about 14,500 kilometers, or 9,000 miles long. There's 9, your 369, your universal numbers, which is about 2,000 kilometers. Longer than the diameter of the Earth. The hexagon may be a bit more than 29,000 kilometers wide, maybe 300 kilometers high, and a jet stream of atmospheric gas is moving at 300 kilometers a second. It rotates around the period of 10 hours, 39 minutes, and 24 seconds. The same period as Saturn's radio emissions from its interior. The hexagon does not shift longitude like other clouds in the visible atmosphere. Its polar hexagon was discovered by David Godfrey in '87 from a piecing together flyby views from the '81 Voyager mission and revisited the 2006 Cassini. And here's the image, right? The all-seeing eye on Saturn's south pole and that hexagon, that hex or curse, right? 6-sided polygon, X. After its discovery, it came back in the sunlight. Amateur astronomers managed to get images showing the hexagon from Earth, even the modest-sized telescopes. Between 2012 and 2016, the hexagon changed from mostly blue color to more of a golden color. One theory for this was the sunlight creating haze as the pole exposed the sunlight due to the change in season. The changes were discovered by Cassini. Think about that. From blue to gold. Right? From blue to gold, this shift. Let's see if we can... we don't have the sound here. I wanted to play the sound of Saturn's North Pole. See if we can find the sound. Give me 1 second. I thought I had it here. Waves detected. No, guess not. Diamond rain falls. Alright, here we go. We'll move forward. I'll pull it up later. Saturn in mythology is the 6th planet. There's that 6 again from the sun, and the 2nd largest planet in the solar system after Jupiter, which is that king planet. Saturn is named after the Roman god Saturn, equated from the Greek Cronus title, the Titan, father of Zeus. Right? The giants, the titans, the Babylonian Ninurta, and the Hindu Shani. Saturn's symbol represents the Roman god's sickle or death, right? Remember, it means to sow. Right? So, harvest. In astronomy, the planet, and judgment, right? In astronomy, the planet we now call Saturn because of the Roman influence was called Kronos by the Greeks, right? Father Time. It was the outermost planet, god, or deity. It was considered the 7th of the 7 heavenly objects that are visible with the naked eye, given that it had the longest observable repeatable period in the sky, which is currently around 30 years. It was thought to be the keeper of time, or Father Time, since no other objects have been seen or recorded to have a longer period. That is why it's often depicted as an elderly man with a long gray beard, right? And that gray is neither black or white, it's neutrality, right? And that long gray beard represents, the rings of Saturn, the way that it looks in the sky, actually, but it's also wisdom, right? Like that hermetic wisdom, right? That comes with age, wisdom, that long gray beard, right? The gray being neutral, standing in the middle way, the narrow gate, right? The narrow path, okay? And it is the 6th, the outermost planet, because it's at the edge, the boundary, right, of the matrix reality. It's once we step out of the Saturnian boundary into Neptune and Uranus, we step into the new dream and the ability to create our own dream in higher conscious states. In astronomy, the planet we now call Saturn Saturn has been known since prehistoric times, and it was the most distant of the 5 known planets in the solar system, excluding Earth, and thus a major character in various mythologies. Babylonian astronomers systematically observed and recorded the movements of Saturn. In Hindu astrology, there are 9 astrological objects known as Navagrahas. Saturn